Hello, welcome to the Ponderings of Pete. Do you want to do a tag video tonight? I'm going to do a tag video. Technically my second tag, but I'm calling it my first because BookTube Newbie is just an intro video. So this is my first tag video. So this tag, which is the Choose Your Own Adventure Fantasy Characters tag, was created by Johanna, and I will link her BookTube down below. As well as have a list of the questions down below if you want to do this tag for yourself. As always with tags of this nature, and I say as always even though I've never done a tag like this before, but I already know how I'm going to act always, I'm going to cheat. And what I mean by that is there's a bunch of questions in here that ask for a specific character, and I'm terrible at coming up with like a concrete answer for these. Like, what's your favorite character? What's your favorite book? Or choose one character for this. I'm terrible at those questions. So I'm probably going to give you multiple characters for each question, or from some of the questions at the very least. So I apologize in advance, but I'm pretty sure that nobody's going to complain for me giving multiple answers. But let's see, shall we? Editing Pete here. Few things I forgot because forgetfulness. This was a collaborative tag, so there's a few other people besides Joanna that we all kind of pitched in. Joanna originally came up with the idea, kind of helped out a little bit. She used as a sounding board eventually, and we're all doing the tag. All those people, there's about, I think there's a total of 10 of us, including Joanna. They're all gonna be linked down below. Below. That's fun. And the other thing that I forgot was, in the midst of filming, I forgot that this was a fantasy characters tag. I will emphasize, this is a fantasy characters tag. I accidentally included people from Star Wars. And these are my dubious choices: Star Wars, The Expanse, and Red Rising. Star Wars is not really that dubious of a choice because it's definitely a sci fantasy. I mean, the entire story is about space wizards, so it counts. The Expanse is flat out sci-fi. Like, that's 100% a mistake on my part. Shouldn't have included that. It's too late to refilm everything now because editing's pretty much done. Thirdly, I included characters from Red Rising, which, while is one of my favorite series, the first book is sort of sci-fantasy, but the second and third book definitely are firmly sci-fi. I've put it firmly into the sci-fi bounds. So Red Rising is kind of like, well, the first book, sort of. So I'm sorry about that. For those of you I've tagged, for those that want to do this tag, make note this is a fantasy characters tag. Use fantasy characters. First question is Fantasy Twin. Name a character that you can relate to on a personal level. And I thought of a few of them, and most of them were like partials, because I'm terrible at making comparisons for myself. Like, one of the partials was Percy Jackson from Percy Jackson and the Olympians, because I would totally let's just be honest, if I like anything from any of these fantasy books became real in real life all of a sudden, I would be hyped because it'd be so fun. It would be terrifying, but I would find it so fun. And I would try to be sassy to monsters and stuff like him because, yeah, as a child I identified more with him. But I was talking to some friends, and Johanna put forth this option from Elend from Mistborn, and I agree with this 100%. He's outside of the noble part because I don't got that type of money. What do I look like? Anyways, but he's well read. He really wants to do good in the world, and he wants to change it for the better. And he enjoys money to a certain extent. Like, he enjoys numbers to a certain extent, but he's not like a researcher or anything like that, you know, is in love with the numbers. So it's been a while since I read Mistborn, but I do agree, yeah, that's probably that's definitely someone who I identify with. Of course, that doesn't count for the party part, because I would be on the dance floor dancing with all the people because, I did swing dance and ballroom dance and stuff throughout college, in different portions in college. So that sort of thing I would enjoy. But other than that, it's like, yeah, reading is yes, let's just go read. Ugh. So this next question is the hero question. Name a character that you aspire to be like. And this is an interesting one. So who's your ideal? Whatever. I mean, I ended up going with Adolin from the Stormlight Archive. He is such a nice guy and really exemplifies kind of like, hey, I'll be stalwart and I'll support you and I will just be a good guy. I'll remember all my soldiers. I will assume the best in people. There's just a lot about Adolin that I wish I could be like, or rather I want to be like, and part of me is working towards being like some of those attributes that Adolin has, which is kind of why I picked him for this tag. Ideally, I'd want him to be on the twin thing, but I really couldn't put him in twin because I just feel like I'm not him. So yeah, he's from the Stormlight Archive. Really great guy. Go read it. It's great. So the next question is the champion question. Name a character that you would like to represent you in a duel. And where I could name Adolin for this one as well, because he's an excellent duel person, I think that would be it would be cheating of the worst kind. Lack of thought. That would be lack of thought versus what I do is thinking too much. So for this, I picked Severo from Red Rising because it's Severo. He'd win. No matter what it took, he'd win. Period. He'd win. Can't tell me otherwise. He'd win because he'd do whatever it takes to win. Come at me. No. So name a character that I love to hate. And, I thought about trying not to go back to the same series more than once, but I kind of dropped that because there's no way I can say anybody else with this character, and that's Moash from the Stormlight Archive. If you know, you know. He's a terrible character. He starts out the series likable, but sort of. But he gets worse. And his storyline is fascinating, and there's a lot of stuff on the internet about him because people just don't like him because of who he is. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say there I can't say anything else without spoiling anything. So yeah, that's Unlikable. So the next question is Tavern Buddy. Name someone who you'd love to get a drink with. And this can be interpreted one of two ways. It could be like, hey, you want to get a drink? Or hey, come on, let's go get a drink, talk, And I went the latter because I'm not the type of person to get fictional crushes on characters or crushes on fictional characters. Let me say that right. So, honorable mention, also from the Stormlight Archive, because you can tell what I read a lot of, is Kaladin in Bridge 4, because Bridge 4 is amazing. I mean, between Rock and Sigzil and Drehy and all these different characters, R'Laine, they would be awesome just to sit down and talk with them. And Teft, can't forget Teft. But my actual answer for this is Whiskey Jack from the Malazan Book of the Fallen. He's such an interesting guy, and he's a down-to-earth guy, and like in book 3, Memories of Ice, he's like, I'm gonna go retire and grow a garden and all this other sort of things, and he makes these plans in Memories of Ice, and it's really just, he cares for his people, and he'd be great to have a drink with and talk about all the crap he's seen, amongst other things, and just like, hey man, let's open a bar. I think he'd be an interesting person to open a bar with too. He'd be cool. Yeah. So this next question, question 6, is named Villain. Name someone who you really don't want to cross paths with. And I was thinking about this for a while, and then I was looking at like what the books that I read recently, which was Cibola Byrne, which is the 4th of the Expanse. And I thought of 2 people. The first is from book 1, Dresden. Not Harry Dresden from Dresden Files, but his name is still Dresden. Second is Murtry from Cibola Byrne. Talking about Dresden, he is the epitome of I will do what it takes. And he does terrible things two humans in order to reach his overall goal, which is elevating humankind. I think that's about as non-spoiler as I can make it. Like, that's not too big of a spoiler, to be honest. And he will do anything to do it. Like, there's a lot of things that he does that are despicable. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Murtry is cut from the same cloth, but in a different way. He also will do whatever it takes. But he will enjoy it. Because he has a goal, and he will use it as an excuse to do the bad things. Which is not okay. I just don't want to be anywhere near either of these two men. Question 7. Mentor. Name someone who you'd like to learn from. And I'm going to pick the classic one. Gandalf. Why is that? Because Gandalf is awesome. Why else? Gandalf has a very unique perspective on things. He's not like all the other wizards. And he's like, I'm going to study the hobbits because there's something curious about them. And I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, the amount he smokes tells you he enjoys it. But he sees the little things, the forgotten things sometimes. It's like there could be beauty here. There could be interesting things here to learn from. And that's why I'd like to learn from him, because, yeah. Question 8 is Samwise. Name a character you could trust with your life. And the first one that came to mind for that one was Saphira from the Inheritance Cycle. And I really like that, because she's a freaking dragon that is bonded with presumably me, because, yeah. Are there things in this world that could take Saphira? Yes. But I think it's demonstrated many times throughout the series that she will go to great lengths to get her rider back if need be. So, yeah, trusting a dragon with your life is an easy yes. Question 9 is the found family question. Name a character that you'd love to adopt or give a home to. And picking a specific one for this one is hard because there's so many characters that are like, I wish I could have made your childhood better. I wish I could have given you a home life. The first ones that kind of came to mind were Spook and Vin from Mistborn, but I already talked about Mistborn, so I gotta think about others. Definitely Anakin from Star Wars. Like, imagine if he had a decent home life that taught him to be an actual human and deal with his emotions regularly and not overthrow governments. Ahsoka also, like, Ahsoka turned into a great character, but like, imagine having her as like an older sister. That would be great. Kylo Ren, because Disney did a terrible job with him, and like, what the heck? I'm not going to go into that too much, though. You know, found family, that'd be cool. I hope you really enjoyed that tag. I had a lot of fun coming with the answers and talking to everybody about theirs. I would like to tag 3 people. They will be Jake Bishop, and all these booktubes will be linked down below, of course. Mr. Truthless of Canada. The second one will be Christy Lewis at Dostoevsky in Space. I know she's mainly sci-fi and classics, but I'm sure she can swing something. Pick a few. And then the third one will be Andrew at Get Right On In. So all those booktubes are linked down below. Looking forward to seeing your guys' versions of this tag. If you like this video, go ahead and like. If you want to see more content, I'll be here. You can subscribe, hit that bell notification so you can be notified whenever I post videos. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your night. Sleep well.